Mark Hansen, do you read?
Yeah, it cut out for a second, but I don't know if it's because you just hit record.
That might be it. How does it sound?
Sounds okay, but it almost still sounds teetering. Let's see. It's usually when you do a string of, when you go on one of your little rants or something. It's almost like
rants. I don't go on little rants, you son of a bitch. Let me tell you something. First of all, Cold Lake is a glam album by a kick-ass band, and that's why you like it, and you haven't even heard it. You fucking poser. There, how do I sound now?
So far, so good.
Oh, okay. So then you admit to being a poser, then?
Yes, indeed. I'm a poser.
Oh, shit. So, yeah, we're technologically challenged yet again. It's mentally challenged, episode whatever, and it's Mark, I admit I'm a poser, Hansen, and J.R. Torina, the Master Butcher.
I don't know, man. I think I just we both need to update our ghetto gear.
Why, am I cutting out again?
No, I'm just saying.
My gear's always been fine. Usually yours is the one that has a problem because you've been outside and stuff. But the last few times we've done this, your Skype would hang up on me. But I don't know. Like, my voice is the one cutting out this time, and I can hear it on the recording. But I haven't touched anything technology-wise. The only thing that's happened is my mouse has been literally belly up on my Mac, but that shouldn't affect anything to do with Skype and recording. So,
yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, we were talking about Nicko McBrain has mentioned that December 7th was his last show. It was, where was that, in Rio or somewhere? Or
probably.
Anyway, his last show with Iron Maiden, Nicko has had some health concerns. He had a stroke, was it, or a heart attack? It was a stroke, and it left him paralyzed on the left side of his body.
Okay, so it gave him like a Bell's palsy or something, or
no? But it's weird because it turned out that he had cancer. So he went and got the cancer fixed up and got the cancer cut out of him. Mm. But I guess he's still going to quit because I guess, I don't know, he's just getting on a bit. Maybe there's more to it. He didn't really want to say.
Well,
but,
I mean, yeah, like, I mean, if any of them said they were done, like, can't really fault them. They've done their time.
I mean, they've been doing that stuff forever.
I think the reason most of them keep doing it is because they don't know anything else. Like if they were to
look
stop,
at it this way,
go
man.
crazy.
Let me tell you this, and this is kind of how I feel right now. Is this isn't? I mean, it's kind of a good comparison, but kind of a dumb comparison. But all these years I've been working in a barbecue restaurant, a local barbecue restaurant. So I've been kind of a big shot in town based on that. Plus having an outgoing personality and the whole metal thing. But everybody who comes to that restaurant knows you because you make their food and you're a local place and you're still around and you survived COVID. And then all of a sudden, like, you're gone. Like we talked, the episode I just put up, I was telling you how we went out of business. And now I didn't have a job for a while. And now I'm working in, let's just say, a grocery store's food court, and I'm filling up fucking fruit smoothies and putting hot dogs in paper bags for people, and I feel like a fucking chump. But I'm actually technically making better money and have benefits and shit more so than I did at the barbecue.
Yeah.
But I'm nobody there. I'm nothing. I'm a peon, the lowest rung on the ladder, and I feel like, what the fuck, I need the money. Nicko doesn't need the money, but I mean, maybe that's why he can just, like, that you wouldn't want to do something else, like go out and work in a hardware store after you toured with Iron Maiden around the world and had groupies, and he doesn't have to.
No, yeah.
And, you know what I mean, though? You know the comparison, what I'm saying?
A little bit, but
you do something grandiose that you're proud of, and then you're forced for one reason or another to come down a few rungs, and you got to do something kind of lackluster that you're like, oh, whatever, I guess I got to do this. Or
well, I've never done anything grandiose, so
Well, yes, you played in bands, man, and
they weren't grandiose.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a big deal, right?
Yes, I mean,
compared to say like what we're doing now, both of us,
Yeah.
So that's my point. And actually making that barbecue connection is Nicko actually owns a restaurant. I didn't know this. He's got a place called Rock and Roll Ribs.
Yeah,
in
the
Boca
barbecue joint.
Raton, Florida. Have you heard of that?
No, maybe you should go work for them.
I thought about that. Certainly do not want to live in Florida, though. But some of my friends live down there. But yeah, it's apparently he lives in
Yeah, I
Florida and he's
wouldn't.
got a restaurant there.
You wouldn't want to live in the where you know basically death metal was formed. That's not you.
No, like American death metal. Fuck no. I'd rather move to Sweden.
You should move to Sweden.
Maybe I will. I thought about it, man. I totally, literally have thought about moving to Europe now, like in a serious manner, like I have.
Because of our new president elect.
Not specifically because of that. I mean, that doesn't excite me. But on the other hand, I'll be totally honest with you. You knew it was going to happen. Like as good as Kamala was, like I just knew Donald Trump was going to win it at the end. You could tell. It was just going to happen. And like whatever, like it's America. We've endured shit before. We'll endure it again. Whatever happens. And the thing I learned with the election, is you had the Harris campaign, like they had the big thing about abortion, right? And women's rights.
Yes, yeah.
So, okay, well, that's fine. I'm not against that at all. I totally believe that that's important. However, in the scheme of things, one or two, like a handful of women have died from that, and tragically so, like painful deaths because of these stupid rules. However, that's not the biggest thing that's affecting all Americans. So that's why everybody they didn't really care. They're like, okay, well, that doesn't mean they hate women. It just means people are like, well, look, that sucks, but this. It's like I don't know. There's that, and like a lot of people think, oh, we're racist now, we're a misogynist country. I'm like, that's not really what I think it is. It's there is that there, but I think there's just a lot more people. And this is crazy to say this, but I think a lot more people have felt like Trump was more on the ground. I don't know. It's weird. Like I didn't think that. But it turned into later on that everything they said in the Democratic campaign was like, can you believe what he said? Oh my God, he said this and he said. I'm like, you know what? Listen to an episode of Medley Challenge. I talk out of my ass all the time and say crazy shit that I regret 5 minutes later. So he just says shit, and he does it he doesn't even think about it. It just comes out, and they're freaking out about it for weeks on the news. I'm like, he's just saying this. Come on, it's obvious now. Get past this. Like, we need to move on. And I think that's why a lot of people just got sick of that. And like, it was all like, like Beyonce and all these pop stars and Billie Eilish, and like, I think a lot of men kind of felt excluded by that in a way. And then like, if you watch some of the speeches they gave, they were really good speeches. However, they were kind of targeted at men and like their attitudes towards women. I'm like, well, we don't all hate women. We don't all not care what happens to them. Like we all care. Most of us, just because there's some dickheads out there who don't, doesn't mean we're all like that. Now you're generalizing us. So that's what I think it was. It really was. It was that. And I think the margins in the election were a lot closer than people give it credit for. He didn't win by that much. It was pretty close because of just the unbelievable factor that he wanted after all the crazy shit he did, like breaking down and doing Village People dancing and talking about Hitler and all this crazy shit that he did.
He talked about Hitler?
He made a comment at one point that he thinks that his generals in the army should have been like Hitler's and more loyal.
No, there's
something.
Somebody said they heard him say that, but
no, he said that. It's on tape. They played.
Oh, you got it on tape.
Well, anyways, that's not a good thing to say.
I dare you to go find the tape after this. I dare you to find out where that.
No, I think I watched the news up till the elections were over. Like he said it. I heard him say it. It's everywhere. It's all. That's just one of many things. That's my point. It's one of many fucking things he said that was just like,
I'll bet you $100 it's not on tape of him saying that.
I'm telling you, I saw it. I wouldn't have said it, dude. He said that verbatim.
It 100%.
He said
tape
this. He
does
said
not
something
exist.
to the effect of Hitler's. Why are you arguing with me? I saw it. I'm telling you, dude. I watched the news.
Oh wow. Okay.
The tape. I saw the camera, the evidence. He said that. And even here, if you let me finish my point, fucking National Enquirer, I'll tell you what. He said it, but I think he just like shit that out of his mouth without thinking. Like he's a Nazi. Like, there's no doubt about it. He sympathizes. So, anyways, what I'm saying is Trump fucking won this time, and he won, as far as we know, fair and square. And it looks like a lot of Americans believe in him. So, to simply say you guys are fucking idiots, I mean, you can't do that, because I think there are a lot of different factors that played into it, and racism and misogyny aren't the biggest ones like everybody's kind of thinking. I don't really think that's what a lot of Americans are like. That's a disservice to Americans too, to say that. So anyway, what this election taught me is that you can't like demonize everybody just because they voted for a certain guy. And we know our stances on politics. Like, I'll never like Trump or MAGA and all that shit, but at the same time, it's like I still have friends that like that shit. I have friends that are Republican. I have friends that simply just hate Biden, and they're still my friends. So I'm not going to shut them out and cast them aside. It's just we never talked politics before, and we don't need to do it now.
Yeah. So
Or
just for the record, though, since I'm all about accuracy and transparency and truth, the recording was actually Donald Trump's chief of staff, John Kelly, saying that Trump said that, but Trump is not actually on audio praising Hitler's generals.
It might have been that, but you might be right there. I can't remember. That's what I mean. There's just so much crazy shit that he would say or do at the end there that was just one little thing. But you might be right. It might have been someone said that. I think you're actually right. You're right. You got it. Okay. Well, you are right then. But I do remember that.
You kind of can see how like some people just like automatically default to like, well, clearly Trump said that on a recording, but the way the news
true.
has it is like audio surface.
The thing is, he probably said that. He probably did really say that. But my point is, he says shit like that all the time without thinking. That's not to say that he's not a fucking bigot, because he is. He hates. My mom remembers shit with him back in the 70s. Him and his father, they wouldn't let black people live in this building that they bought in New York. My mom remembers that shit.
Oh.
So, anyways, we're not going to talk politics. We were talking, I can't remember how we got on that, but here's a funny side note, is we were talking about Nicko McBrain living in Florida, which is how that started. Hulk Hogan, famous wrestler who also showed up for Trump in this last election, has a beach shop somewhere in the Keys or somewhere in Florida. And it's like a crazy, like radical right-wing beach shop. If you go in there, there's a guy that works in there, and he's been all over wrestling podcasts, people talking about him, where he'll just go off on conspiracy theories with you, and he'll go all into the QAnon stuff. And it's kind of funny. So you should, if you're ever in Florida, you can drive down, watch some death metal, go visit Hulk Hogan's beach shop for a good laugh, and then go see Nicko upstate and get some barbecue.
Yeah.
Have a burger with Nicko McBrain. So anyway, we were talking on the previous time we tried to record tonight. Nicko's replacement was a guy from Steve Harris's jam band. Which, whatever. What is it? It's like he's an Iron Maiden most of the time. So it's
I know, but it's like more of like a side band. But jam band is an actual genre. It's like.
Well, okay. Well, like him jam out. You know what I mean? Fuck jam band. I don't mean like Phish. Give me a fucking break.
Phish, yeah.
Phish is like the worst, most offensive bullshit I've ever heard in my life. Put the fucking record, other than today's modern R&B, hip hop, or like whatever pop music. But I mean, Phish is such fucking bullshit. It's like two guys in the room tuning their guitars for 30 minutes. They recorded it and released it. That's what fucking Phish sounds like. And they can't play either. So that's Phish. Yeah,
they can play, but it's just the jam. I mean, that music is boring to me.
It's fucking stupid. I hate Phish. It's like they're so tuneless and boring and uninteresting and uninspired. It's just fucking stupid. And I don't know how they have such a huge following, but they do. So
because they're very similar to the Grateful Dead.
Yeah, of course. But they're not the Grateful Dead.
I know.
Even the Grateful Dead have some hit songs that are just songs where they sing and there's a chorus. Phish is just, like I said, is two guys in the room fucking around for 40 minutes, and they record it and release it, and these idiots buy it for like...
Maybe some of their albums, but if you listen to like Pitcher of Nectar or Lawn Boy, they actually have songs. I mean,
I've heard some of their songs, believe me. Like, speaking of Sugar House Barbecue...
Oh, yeah. I mean, you live in a sugar house. People were always probably pushing Phish on you.
Yeah, totally. You know, you seen the decor in there. Like my cousin, the guy who owned the barbecue, was a huge fish guy. He would follow them around. So all the decor in there was Phish. And when I started working there, I made it a point to get upstairs and put some music on the computer so that it was like rock, you know, some rock and blues and
Mhm.
country for a fucking barbecue restaurant, not for 40 fucking minutes. And we got into a fight about it. We always fought about music. I'm like, dude, you go anywhere in the South where barbecue is born, they are not playing fucking Phish. They'll kick the shit out of you if you even try to get them to play that. They will
Which
play
is weird
listening to
because
rock, country, or blues, all of
did you
which I'm
guys
playing in here.
did you guys ever actually serve fish? Not the band, but like
I think at one
fish.
time they tried salmon or something, but it was too expensive and it was a lot of pain to put in a smoker because it smokes a lot quicker than
Uh,
meats, like regular meats and stuff. So you got to really
Um,
keep up on it, and they just didn't have the time. And not a lot of
yeah,
people ordered it too, which was weird because I really think smoked salmon would be a big seller. But
yeah.
so yeah, I'm reeling here. First of all, let's finish this up. So British Lion is Steve Harris's quote unquote jam band, or a side band if you like. So the band is British Lion, and that drummer is now the live drummer for Iron Maiden when they play live, Simon Dawson.
Okay.
Which I don't know anything about that band or that guy, but apparently I'm sure he knows Maiden playing with Steve Harris because they were
Oh yeah,
jamming after all. So
yeah, yeah. What's his name? Simon. Let's see if he's been in any other bands. Simon Dawson.
Simon Dawson, Dawson, just like
Uh,
Richard Dawson from Family Feud.
Okay.
You gonna look him up?
Yeah, I'm just gonna see if he.
Hold
Yeah.
on, I got BNR metal pages up here. Let's see if I can find him. Simon Dawson, current drummer in Iron Maiden. God damn, they've already got that updated.
Yeah.
Okay, well that doesn't say. That just says Iron Maiden. Let's go back. There's another band, Dearly Beheaded, but I don't know if that's the same Simon Dawson. Oh, it is the same guy. Or is it? Sometimes
Okay.
they get it wrong here.
He
Oh
was
no.
in the outfield.
The outfield.
Yeah.
I don't wanna lose your love tonight. That band?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not the same guy.
He was a session player for the outfield.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of weird. You know, Kiss, and I probably said this before on Creatures of the Night, the first song on that album, Creatures, is Creatures of the Night, and the solo was played by I can't remember his name now. But
Steve
he was in
Lukather.
Mr. Mister.
Oh, Michael Landau.
Is that his name? I think it was Steve something, wasn't it?
It wasn't Lukather.
No, not that. No, not Toto. That's our boy from Toto.
Oh wait, no, it was oh, what's the guy's name?
Steve Ferris. Steve
Steve
Ferrin or
Ferris.
Steve like
Steve
that. Yeah.
Ferris. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was the guy who played the solo on
Uh-huh.
Creatures of the Night, the song. And then after that, they hired Vinnie Vincent. And from there on out, it was all Vinnie.
Yeah, Ferris has played with a lot of people. Um
I
I
think
think he
Robin Ford, that country band, right?
yeah, I mean he was like a Nashville like player. Um
Yeah, there was a band called Robin Ford. It was a guy's name, but it was a
well
country
yeah,
kind of
Robin
country
Ford.
rock band.
No, Robin Ford is like a rock blues player.
Oh,
Uh
well, whatever. It kind of had a country, like 80s country. You know, I remember someone bought me that because they thought they could speak my language and like give me a heavy metal CD for Christmas. And
mhm.
I was like, yeah, Robin Ford, thanks, dude. And, you
Yeah.
know, it had
Um
like that classic 80s, like blue and turquoise blue lettering. And
mhm. And I think he was even supposed to play in Whitesnake at one time.
who, this drummer or Steve
No,
Ferris?
Steve Ferris.
So this other guy, the drummer, then, what the fuck's his name? I already forgot. Simon.
Simon Dawson.
Simon Dawson. So there's another band according to BNR metal pages called Dearly Beheaded, which they
Mhm.
compare to Testament and Pantera. Is that the same guy? Was I breaking up or was I cracking up?
Breaking up.
I like cracking up because that's a Venom song off of
Okay,
Calm Before the Storm.
you were cracking up.
I was
Yeah.
cracking up
Yeah, that last 10 seconds was a little
just now,
rough.
or were you?
Just now, yeah.
So every time I talk about cracking up, I start breaking up, is what you're saying.
Yeah, or vice versa.
Vice Versa. Is that your new band?
Yes.
Weird Harold touring with Vice Versa, starring Mark Hansen on both sets.
Oh,
What?
what am I trying to say?
What
I
are
don't
you
know,
trying to
man.
say?
What else we got? What else we
So,
got?
did you read what I posted on your Facebook page about Kiss?
Um, I did, but I forgot
There was a
already.
lawsuit over somebody. First of all, my biggest takeaway from this Kiss story is wigs. I'm like, wigs? They're
Oh yeah,
wearing
yeah.
wigs.
No, you know what? And okay, so now, yeah, now I remember.
I'm like, what is this,
And I'm
Joseph from the
actually,
Technicolor Dreamcoat? They have a wigmaster. I mean,
I'm rooting for that guy because
you are?
Paul and Gene. Oh yeah, dude, they were
I
being
thought you'd be
dicks
on
about
Kiss's side. Like, fuck that little
no,
poser.
no, because you know me, dude. I was anti like forced vaccinations, anti lockdown. I thought all of that was bullshit.
Yeah, and this guy is suing them because he's mad that he got COVID because Gene had it, and one of their other roadies got it and died from it in his hotel room while they were on tour. And he wanted there to be restrictions, and they wanted Gene to go on stage with a COVID mask. I'm like, well, that kind of number one
That's
takes
dumb.
away. He's like mouth centric.
No, I mean,
He's got the tongue, the
no.
blood. He's got to do
The thing
vocals.
is what they were doing is they were forcing all their crew and everybody to be masked up and vaccinated and everything, but they weren't applying those same things to themselves, you know. And yeah, that pissed me off about Paul and Gene.
But the
They were
lawsuit
so
also alleged that they were making these guys work like crazy long hours and not paying them overtime.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
there's that. See, I've said before, Kiss has been known to mistreat their roadies. Like Gene used to spit down off the stage into the trench where the roadies would be when he would do his
Mhm.
fire breathing routine. He'd spit the kerosene out.
You got to spit it somewhere.
Well, yeah, but he would do it right on the guy and not care. And like the guy after the stage, after the show, would be like, "Look, fucker, quit spitting on me, you asshole," or he'd call them by their names, like what they did. Like bass tech was bass, and you're like, "Hey, my name is Marvin. Fucking call me by my name, and like quit calling me bass, motherfucker. I have a name."
No, that's just petty.
And that a lot of shit like that about Kiss, or else they'd be like, "This is the life, you know. We get to be rich and have parties and do all this stuff." And then the roadies got cold pizza that showed up before the concert even started, and then they got to have cold pizza after they finished working. You know, it was. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
dude.
Like the way I understood it was that Gene caught COVID while they were in Rio or somewhere, and then he got everybody sick, and this one dude died in his hotel room while they were on tour, and this other dude got sick, and he's suing him. Did I
Uh,
misread that?
I don't know. I don't know if I can go read it again. Let me just see. I'll see if I
Well,
can
I'm looking at
skim
it
it.
now. It's a long article, a really long article.
Well, no, and that's okay. So that's one of the things. Like reading the article, it's written in a way that I almost thought it was parody because it was so clunky, right?
Yeah, it was
Um,
kind of.
adequate brace
It
wrongfully
came from
terminated
Rolling
after.
Stone, I think, didn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it
So
was. It was Rolling Stone.
okay, blah blah blah. Let's see. So let's see what no. Blah blah blah. Yeah, the article was written in such a way that was like convoluted and yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't care. I hope they both lose. Yeah.
You hope they both lose.
Yes. Remember
See,
for
they're saying what I got out of it is they didn't have strict COVID protocols for anything. That's why people got sick. It's not like they made people wear masks. No one was doing
okay,
shit.
so this guy's actually whining about having to work through COVID, so I'm against him now.
This guy
Yeah,
is saying that like they didn't
anybody who
have good
was
precautions and then people got sick because of it. So he's
yeah,
not wrong. Like, apparently people got sick from Gene and one guy is now dead.
people get sick from everything. People die from everything. I think all the COVID hysteria was bullshit, and people that were afraid of it um, don't
Why do
really
you
have
think that?
like
Because you know people died from it.
people die from no one died from the flu that year.
No one died from the flu, but a lot of people died from COVID. So what's your point? It's two different things.
That's my point is they're both the same thing. People that people that died in a car accident that got tested for COVID were marked as a COVID death.
That's bullshit. That sounds like Fox News stuff to me.
Well, it's true.
I never heard that.
Look it up.
You know what? There's a guy I know that thinks that people implanted, when they got their COVID shot, implanted a tracking chip in them. And I
Yeah,
told
I
the
don't.
dude, explain to me, Fox News watcher that you are, who shall remain nameless, not Mark Hansen, everybody.
Oh,
But I told this guy, tell me why you think that. And he said, okay, well, this guy, they found him. I forget who was looking for him, but they said they could figure out where he was after he went somewhere. And like, okay, dude, you know that you are on record for getting a COVID vaccination. They keep records of that. So they know you got one. He's like, well, how would they know where he's at? They put a tracker in him. I'm like, okay, but he had his phone with him. Yeah.
mm-hmm,
Okay. Even when your phone's off, they can track you and know where you are. So they know where you were and
mm-hmm.
said, oh, so and so, here's your records. He had a COVID shot. That's how they know. They didn't put a fucking
I
tracking chip in you. Why would they
didn't
give
believe
two
that,
shits?
but
Huh?
I mean, I can send you video where there's I think it was one of the mayors. I forgot what city it was, but they were explaining that yes, if you got in a car accident and tested positive for COVID during the autopsy, it was going to count as a COVID death. They were
That's
doing
probably
that.
just someone talking out of their ass, though. How do you know that?
Oh,
See, now you're using that argument against me, and you just said it a while ago. You couldn't say that about Trump saying Hitler's
mm.
generals were good, and now it's like, oh, it was this guy said that he heard him say that. Like, okay, well then you're
No,
right, Mark.
okay. No, this was
Now
someone
you're
that
giving me
was
the same
actually
bullshit argument, saying that I'm wrong because some dickhead said it. Okay, it's on video. I saw it. It's in the Bible.
okay.
Yeah. Are you not in the mood tonight?
Oh, I'm not feeling it. So see.
Well, you get in the
Okay,
mood,
so
pal.
Office for National Statistics. If someone dies from a non-COVID-19 related cause, e.g., car crash, heart attack, cancer, but has received positive test results, this is actually UK, um,
Even more dubious.
will be counted in the statistics. So if they received a positive test result within 28 days prior to the death occurring, that death will be included in coronavirus daily figures. So it does.
Well, even
This is
so.
from the UK. So
Well,
let's
even
see.
so, people did die from COVID, but after a while, it became like less of a urgent strain because they figured out vaccines to go against it. Now it is kind of like the flu, more or less. Although you can still even die from the flu depending on how bad your health is. But anyways, this isn't metal, so let's get off this topic. I had another one, and you made me forget now with all your ranting and raving, you political nutbag. I was gonna say I Am Morbid was just here, but I didn't go.
I know. I wish I
Are you
wanted to
mad at
go.
me?
No, because I didn't go either, and I wanted to, but I didn't have the money.
Well, I kind of wanted to go, but all the other bands that were with them, I just kind of didn't care about. And like I said before on other shows, I hate going to a concert when there's like fucking six bands and like an extra opener or something. I'm like, it's too much.
Well, we
Too
got
fucking much.
so coming up in April, I believe you got Meshuggah, Cannibal Corpse, and Carcass.
Yeah, I know. Once again, what the fuck? When are they
Um,
gonna? And Napalm Death's coming back with the Melvins. Like, why don't the Melvins tour with Cannibal Corpse, the Napalm Death and Carcass tour together? Then I'll fucking go, man. I'll be there early. Like, come
man,
on, man. Why is Carcass touring with all these fucking lame bands and Napalm Death comes back with the Melvins like every time? Like, fuck, I don't want to hear them anymore.
they're not that bad though.
They're
And
they're
that
okay, but
that
I mean,
actually
come
makes
on,
sense to
man.
me.
Napalm
Melvins
Death.
and
They should come with like Suffocation or I Am Morbid or like Bolt
no,
Thrower or something. Come
but
on.
I think
Or like old grindcore.
I think Napalm Death has probably more um kind of more of a connection to the Melvins than they do Suffocation.
Well, they do, but I mean, they also started, they were back there back in the death metal days and the grindcore days. It was all kind of the same thing. They all kind of toured together, but Napalm Death, Bolt Thrower, all those old English bands, that'd be awesome.
Well,
Benediction, like, why can't those bands tour with Napalm Death? Why do they always tour with the Melvins and fucking,
Mersbow,
no, I would go to that. That'd be awesome.
yuck.
Oh, with
I don't like
Napalm.
noise.
But anyways, Napalm Dead's coming back with the Melvins, but the one I am going to go to is Incantation and Decapitated.
May 8th.
Let's try this a third time. I'll go really slow so the computer can keep up. Decapitated, Incantation, touring together.
Yes.
April or May they'll be here. I can't remember. Sometime in spring.
Well, who are the other
Echo
bands?
Metro. Huh?
Who are the other bands?
I don't know. I'd have to like really look, but let's see if I can find it. Literally, there's like 4 other bands on the bill again. I don't know why people like bands do that. It's like it's too fucking much, man. And then they go to places where there's a curfew or something. It's like they got to play short. Let's see, Incantation.
There we go.
What?
Let's see.
Are you looking it up?
Oh no, that's not the one. Hold on. Incantation.
Darkest Hour. I don't know who that is. And then Ex Mortis, I think. Ex Mortis TUS, not Ex Mortis TIS, who are a great early death metal band, by the way.
Let's see if I can.
They have a JPEG of the poster, but you can't enlarge it. It's just dumb.
There it is. Okay. There we are. Okay.
Salt Lake City, Utah, February 19th.
Okay. Well, I've never heard. I think I've heard Ex Mortis. They're pretty good. I'll have to check out in Darkest Hour. So that's the thing. I mean, like some of these bands are good, though. That's the thing.
Oh, maybe, but I mean, I don't know. I've heard Ex Mortis. To me, and this is me being jaded, but I just don't remember very much about it. Darkest Hour, I have no idea. But I don't like when there's too many bands. I just like 2 bands, like 2 killer bands touring, and that's it. Then maybe add an opener, but that's it. I don't want to see fucking 5, 6 bands and stand there all night. Like, you know, I hate that shit. Then the setup, breakdown time, it's just not my thing. You know, that's why I don't go to those festivals and stuff for like 3 days. So anyway, I'm going to go to that show probably.
All right.
So here's the other thing is, I guess you can tell by my text to you a while ago about Jinky getting killed, is that I watched your movie you got me.
Yeah.
Heavy Trip.
Would you like it?
Should we do it? Should we do a review of Heavy Trip before I break up again? Or crack up?
I've done a review of it, but what did you think?
I thought it was a pretty funny movie, a pretty fun movie, you know?
Yeah, it was really cute, huh?
It was sort of predictable, but sort of not predictable in a way.
Yeah, you didn't think Jinky was going to die.
No, I didn't think Jinky would die, especially just speeding off the road. It didn't look like it was that bad of an accident, but it sucks because Jinky was probably my favorite guy in the band, really.
Yeah.
And then also, I didn't expect him to die at the end, or not die, but get arrested. You know, I was like, what the fuck? They made it and they played, now they got all arrested at the end? What the fuck?
Oh, yeah. But that's how they, you know, it gives them that notoriety, right?
Well, yeah, but they already, like, what was it? I guess they had their drummer's corpse with them, and like, what else?
Yeah.
They didn't kill somebody though, right? Or
no, nobody died except for Jinky.
So out of the band, out of the characters in that movie, which one are you most like?
Which one am I most like? Probably.
I'm gonna say Lot Vonen.
The guitar player?
Yeah, that's you, because he looked glammy and he was the guitarist, and he's the kind of the most spacey, glammy one there. And I think that's Marc.
Yeah, but he's so hyper though. Like I'm actually.
He wasn't hyper though. He was pretty deadpan.
No, like
not compared to the other guy, but
like I'd be more like the singer with like the performance anxiety kind of thing.
That would be you. I think you were Lot Vonen, man. The wavy blonde hair and the cheesy smile, and
I don't have that.
Well, you don't, but that's just in spirit you have that, you know. So me, I don't know. I'd have to say I'm a cross between the quiet, serious guy, the bass player, and Jinky, because I'm always about going out to eat and like all that kind of stuff and just crazy bullshit.
But what I liked about it is I think it actually had a pretty accurate kind of portrayal of your typical metalhead, you know.
I don't know about that because to me, like Europe, I don't know if that's how it is over there. I highly doubt it because metal's so much more popular over there. But like
Well,
people
no, I
being
mean
made fun of,
it
like
was a
getting
Europe.
picked on, like I don't think
Yeah,
that happens anymore, does it?
probably a little. You know, I
Not
mean,
the metalheads though. Most,
you get jocks and rednecks in all countries. You know,
well, maybe so, but I mean,
but I mean, personality wise, they're mostly, most metalheads are kind of innocent. You know, they're not really the bad boys that the image portrays. They're almost more
well, no, that
nerds.
was that was spot on, and now that's becoming almost a cliche now is that metalheads are these intelligent, quiet, kind of nerdy guys that
Yeah,
like
nice.
classical music and they know they do good in school, and that's actually not too far from the truth. I was thinking
But
about that yesterday, actually.
I find it ironic that like the singer works at a care center. You know, like
Yeah, like you. That was you,
yeah,
totally.
yeah,
Like
same
wiping
type of
guys'
place.
asses and crazy people assaulting you and shit. And
Mm-hmm.
but the
Yeah.
funny thing is, I was thinking about that yesterday at work. Not that movie, but just how I've gone through some of that in the '80s when I was in high school. There would be jocks who would give me shit, like in English class.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, "Yeah, bro, what do you get in this class? Do you even care? Why are you here every day? I can't believe you even show up. Like, are you even doing any good? Are you even passing?" And the funny
Mm-hmm.
thing is I never skipped school ever. Like once or twice here or there, only because my friends wanted to. But I always went to school,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't like an overall great student, but English was my thing. Like, and the teacher interrupted this guy when he was giving me shit in front of the class and said, "He's actually got an A+ in this class, as opposed to your D-." And everybody started making fun of the jock dude.
Yeah.
I was
And
like,
then
"Fuck
that
yeah,
jock
Mrs. Miller
dude,
sticking up."
he
Huh?
later took his life.
He probably did. I didn't care.
Mental health is a big thing. Oh man.
But that was funny. It just reminded me kind of like some of that stuff in that movie, and like how the one dude's like trying to fuck this girl, so he's like telling the metalhead to back off because I got this girl, and then the dad is a cop, and he's like your typical
Hmm.
European kind of stoic yet, like kind of
I thought the Norwegian border
sexist
guards were
kind of
pretty funny.
the what?
The Norwegian border uh,
Oh
patrol
yeah, that yeah, it was kind of
was
funny. It
funny.
wasn't a bad movie. It was actually a lot better than I was expecting it to be, but it was not the kind of movie I mean, it was kind of what I was expecting it to be, like comedy wise, but in some things it wasn't. Like they couldn't play and they couldn't find their sound until he
I love
lost the,
that.
the
Yeah,
deer in the grinder.
yeah, yeah. That's just yeah when they're all standing around it. Yeah. No, I mean, it was like like almost more wholesome than I was expecting it to be, and that's why I liked it. Just because it was kind of like very wholesome, you know.
Are you wholesome?
Kind of like
You're more wholesome, like you have holes in your brain, like wholesome.
yeah, it's full of holes, some holes. No, but because it was a bloody disgusting, put it out. I thought it would be like more like trash, violence kind of stuff.
Yeah,
But
some of the
I
previews on that DVD were interesting, like that Twisted Sister documentary. Looks pretty interesting,
oh,
actually.
I didn't see any of those previews. But what I was saying though is I actually liken it more to like it's almost like a Napoleon Dynamite
I
for
hate to
metal.
say it, but it almost did have that vibe. Now that you mention it, there was like that
Yeah,
young kids with angst and like just wanting to be
just
yearning to be
awkward.
noticed. And
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and it was sort of low key too.
See, I don't
Like
think
it
all
wasn't.
metalheads are like that, but I mean, for that movie, for
No,
that purpose, it was all right. But
yeah. I think they're making a sequel, so hopefully they don't ruin it. But
did you watch any of the bonus stuff on there, like other bands reacting to it, and like
no, no.
it
But
had the guy from
I even
Opeth,
thought,
Tomas, what's that motherfucker's name? The singer from Opeth, he was talking about it. And
oh, Mikhail Ackerfeld.
yeah, yeah. And a couple other people from bands I haven't heard of, but
Well, I think the
I don't know.
music.
It was interesting to say the least. Like it went out of its way to be in a small village in Europe as opposed to like a bigger city,
Mhm.
like you would expect, like say, Gothenburg or
Gothenburg. Mhm.
or like where was what's his name from in Norway, Oslo or something like that, you know. Or
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, it was a pretty funny movie. So everybody listening, Heavy Trip was the movie. It's about 4 guys from Finland who try to make it as a metal band. They name drop a few Swedish metal bands, or not Swedish, but Finnish metal bands in there that you might or might not know. So you gotta
There's a few.
know
Yeah,
your metal.
that was also a great scene where the guy was trying to come up with riffs, and the bass player kept like telling him who he
See, that
ripped
would be
off.
me. I'm the bass player
Yeah.
with like my encyclopedic knowledge of all metal. Actually, a band from 1982 called Dave that you're playing that from, but you could probably use that riff. And
Yeah. Um, but I even thought the song like they came up with was pretty good. It was like a cool. It was almost like a mix of like all the metal genres sort of put into one song. I thought that they did a good job with the music on that as
it's
well.
funny. Hello, yes.
Oh, there you go. That last whole section was pretty much unhearable.
You just chose to interrupt me. Is that why?
No,
You dirty motherfucker.
but we were talking about the song.
I had the song, but I had my old band Human Furnace, my old grindcore band.
Hmm.
The guitarist Brad couldn't play anything. He didn't know how to play worth a damn. It was just crap. We were more noisecore, unintentionally so than anything. But
Hmm.
we had one riff that he could play, and that was taught to him by the guitarist of Alcohol Death, which was a big grindcore band in Salt Lake at that time.
Hmm.
So we were like that band in Heavy Trip. We'd like always play that song and practice it over and over, and like that was the only thing we could play. And everything else we did was just like noise.
Yeah, just like Heavy Trip.
So anyway, yeah. What else? And then you got to watch the bonus stuff because the bonus stuff has what's the main guy's name in the band?
Oh, I can't even remember now.
Well, anyway, the
Yurik or no? What was his name? Yeah, Yankee Posse, Lovin, and
Jinky.
oh, fuck.
Well,
I gotta
anyway,
look it up.
the main guy in the band with the target vomiting because he was nervous. All the bonus stuff is them in Texas and like other places with him and the other dude as his manager, the guy with the mustache that was their enemy in the movie, the
Turo.
singer. So it's kind
Yeah.
of funny. You should watch it. There's some funny shit in like the bonus stuff. There's actually a music video too for their song.
Oh wow, there's already a trailer for Heavier Trip. Is it already out? The
I don't
sequel's
know,
out?
is it?
Hold on a sec. What's
You
this?
better look into this, man.
Heavier Trip, Road to Vakken.
Oh, now they're going to Germany, huh?
It's already out.
Well, shit, you better get
Shit,
it, man.
man. Yeah.
You know, you're almost breaking up a little bit too, but you're not breaking up. I wonder what that is. There's some weirdness going on tonight. It's probably you. It's probably your connection that's fucking us all up. So
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I think we should maybe salvage what you can from this one, but I think I could be in better form too, like on a
well, I only got one little thing left to talk about.
what's that?
I was gonna say I was listening to one of our old shows, and what do you think about record labels who don't understand their bands?
Do you have an example?
Well, in the 90s, you had Earache Records was making a big
Yeah.
surge in the underground, right?
Yeah.
And then they got a deal with Combat Records in the States to have their stuff distributed here, and they did all their really heavy early death metal stuff like Morbid Angel, Napalm Death, Carcass, Godflesh, Bolt Thrower, Entombed, Nocturnus. And then Columbia Records stepped in and said, "We want your main bands because you guys are making money." And
Right.
Columbia Records didn't have any idea what this music was, and that deal fell through immediately. But I forget what made me think about this, but the best example I have is Devo.
What label were they on?
I don't remember, but in the late '80s, they had huge success. Okay, I was listening to the show where we talk about Devo playing live, or just Devo in general, and they had the hit with "Whip It," right? So everybody
Yeah.
knows "Whip It." And at one point, they had this old man, this funny old man who was the corporate record label owner, came in and was singing "Whip It," wearing a Devo Energy Dome hat, the little red hat.
Uh-huh.
And they were looking at each other like, look at this fucking fool. Like, does he not get that we're talking about him and people like him in our music? And he said, you guys do whatever you want. Just give me another hit single and make me rich again. He said something to that effect, which totally turned them off. Oh, we were talking about heavy metal, the soundtrack to Heavy Metal, the movie, because Devo had a song on there called Through Being Cool.
Mm-hmm.
And that song for Through Being Cool is about how they turned their back on huge success like that because they don't want to be cool anymore because they saw what it meant, that they were corporate slaves. Well, anyway, that got me thinking about later in the '80s because they never really regained popularity with any songs again, and they tried. But they had a song called Baby Doll late in the '80s, like around '88, '87, thereabout. And
Mm-hmm.
the label made a video for them, and it had a hot girl that looked like a girl from a Whitesnake video, like teased hair and like sexy outfit, scantily clad girl with makeup, and not what you'd expect to see in a Devo video. It was more like a Kiss girl, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And they had her in this video, and even on their DVD, they talk about it. Like, yeah, we have this video, and the label made us. It looks like a girl from a ZZ Top video, is what they said. And they were like, yeah, I don't know why they were giving us this because they should have known we're not about that. And that was funny because I was saying Devo felt out of place on the heavy metal soundtrack because they're not heavy metal and they're not a rock band like all these bands that are on that soundtrack. So anyway, it was just funny because and I have that DVD with that video. There are two versions of that video. One is just them playing, and the other one is this hot girl, like sexy, laying in bed with a teddy bear, and Devo is playing, and she's all into Devo. I'm like, she wouldn't be into Devo. That wasn't hit music back then, like late '80s. That stuff was already
Mm-hmm.
gone. But anyway, that just got me
Mm-hmm.
thinking. What do you think about labels who don't know about their band? Because it's happened to heavy metal bands a ton, and like those earache bands, because that
Yeah.
Columbia record deal fell through immediately. They all put out one record and got dropped, like all of them.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Like
I don't know.
Cathedral.
I think that's pretty common, but I don't think it's necessarily like genre specific, but it
Well,
is
no.
band. Like there's just bands that like the band that I think of when I think of like one that just got mishandled by labels all the time was King's X. And I think it was just because their sound was hard to place it. It was heavy, and had metal elements, but it was so lush and poppy that it, I think at the time they came out, they didn't know where to put them, like in how to push them. You know what I mean?
King's X, and I always get them confused with Living Color. What do you think about Living Color? You remember those
Uh,
guys?
oh yeah, I love Living Color. That
They're the
first
black guy
album.
that play like super hard rock, and they got that too because they were black. They got lumped in with black music a lot when in fact they just played hard rock.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I never heard much about them because we missed it because no one advertised them to metalheads because they were black.
well, I saw them on MTV and it just
Well, I
blew my
did too,
mind.
but you didn't see it on Headbangers Ball. You saw it elsewhere. I'm like,
Yeah,
if I had liked Metallica, I might have liked Living Color. I don't know, but
no, Living Color was great, but there was even a heavier band that was like all black people, and it was 24/7 Spies.
yeah, I
And I
remember
think
them.
they might have they were almost uh, there were ones that were hard to place because they were metal and really melodic, but I think they would always be touring with like hardcore bands, like your Bad Brains type stuff.
Yeah, yeah, I remember seeing them
Um,
always were like with bands like that. So I thought they
but they
might be
weren't.
like thrash or something or a crossover, but they weren't.
They were probably more crossover, but the singer could all their singers could really sing like almost R&B sounding.
Weren't they on like the River's Edge soundtrack or one of those metal kind of movies from the '80s? Weren't they one of those bands or like
Um,
something like that?
I don't think they were on River's Edge. That one you had Slayer, Fate's Warning.
Yeah, yeah. They weren't on that? I thought they were on that.
I don't think so. I don't think they were on any soundtracks. They're another band that I think, in a
What was
weird
that
way,
other
like
movie?
they
What was
they
that
fit
other
more.
movie that came out? There was a movie where Slayer and a bunch of rap bands did like conjoined songs with like metal
Oh,
bands, like The Exploited and Ice-T and Slayer and Ice Cube. Do you remember that? What was
yeah,
that
it
movie?
was
And Slayer and
damn,
TSOL was on there.
it was like a action movie or something.
Was
I
it?
can't
It was
I can't
something where
remember.
they had like black music paired with like thrash and hardcore punk, like The Exploited and Slayer. And I think wasn't 247 Spies on that? Or
I,
I want to
I
say
don't
they were on a
know.
soundtrack to something like that.
I don't think so. I mean, pretty big I'm still a pretty big fan. I think I would have known if 24/7 Spies was on a soundtrack. Let me see if I can find it. I'll Google
There's a
it.
couple of bands, speaking of earache, that had black members that were prominent, like Dub War and Oceano. You know that band?
Oceano, yeah. Wasn't God Forbid another
God
one?
forbid, that name sounds familiar. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of those bands didn't make it. They were in the 90s. You just didn't hear
24/7 Spies was on any soundtrack.
who, me or 247
Yes,
Spies.
you.
247 Spies broke up.
No, you were breaking up.
I thought I was cracking up.
You're cracking up.
No, I was saying I just remember them being associated with a larger record label than say like Combat or something.
24/7 Spies?
Yeah, like
Well,
they
I
were
think
on
they
like
were. I think
they
maybe
traveled in bigger circles than like Death Angel and stuff. That's why I kind of heard about them, but not
mm,
really. You know, it's
yeah, I think they were on. Let's see what they were on East West for a little while, um, and I think they they got picked up kind of by that major label because they were trying to get on the the Living Color kind of coattails. Even though I think 24/7 Spies may have been around longer than Living Color, um, but to me, like, but once again, I think they had so much R&B elements to it that the labels, I think they underestimated the audience, thinking that, okay, if we push this band towards a metal audience, they're not going to get it because they have R&B elements to them, which I think is actually underestimating metalheads once again.
maybe. I don't know. I don't know if
And
I've ever heard much of them, but
yeah, no, I mean they're really good, but but then
I just remember them being like
bands like,
associated somehow with like
but
some of those bands back then.
A band like 311, that band that got really huge, bunch of white kids, um,
Did you disappear?
no, can you hear me still?
And he's gone, ladies and gentlemen.
Uh-oh. This is on your
Well,
end, dude.
we were definitely mentally challenged tonight, technologically challenged, sleep challenged, and Mark Hansen, he's just challenged in general.
Serious?
What more can be said?
Are you still there? Hello?